Welcome back to the channel. I want to show you isolation and how to do it the old-fashioned way if you don't have Magic Mask. So that way we can go from something like this to something like this. So let me show you how we did that. We got 3 nodes here. I'm going to go ahead and disable them all, and we'll walk through each one. So this is how the shot originally was. He has this like blue colored shirt, and that matches the hues on this airplane's poster behind him. So if we wanted to isolate certain items and change the colors, I ended up changing this to more of a purplish kind of color. And what I did was grabbed a power window here and just outlined, not exactly, but pretty close. He does do a little bit of movement in here. So I used the pen tool for that and traced around here, and then moved to the tracker and just tracked it through the shot so you could see it kind of fluctuates as he's moving. It's not 100% perfect, and you could always readjust these after the fact if you needed to, just by grabbing them, and they'll still follow with the track. So you could tighten it up quite a bit if you needed to. And one thing I ended up doing was back on the Windows side was adding some softness. So if we zoom in here, I had a little layer from this outside edge, and this is the inside soft, and you could just see the discoloration. So I kind of gave it a little bit of feathering here, and that sort of sold it where you can see how it's highlighted a little bit outside his range, but it's enough where it's not noticeable. So that's how I got the shirt to change color like that. And then for the secondary node, I wanted to change the hue on this poster. And once again, you could grab a qualifier, but we're trying to isolate it to just these items. On this particular node, I also grabbed a pen tool and lined it up with the edges of the frame here and came around the edge of this lampshade and kind of just got it in where it's hiding along with the edge of the frame here, pretty much. Something where you would naturally expect it to change lighting conditions. And this one doesn't have any softness on it at all. It's just a hard matte edge, which helps coming in along with this lamp here. And then I just used the gamma to shift it over to kind of give it this more of a greenish hue instead of that blue color. Now, if you're curious about the nodes, we have one here, and it's going into this part here called the parallel mixer. Now, if you have a single node and you wanted to add a parallel node, you can add it with option P, and that'll make this combiner for you. So essentially, it'll let you manipulate things stacked and then combine them in like this, and it helps keep everything separated, where if you stacked it in parallel, it would start to work on top of one another, where these are independent before they get combined into the viewer. So that takes care of the shirt and the hue of this poster. And then on this extra serial node here, I ended up making a little bit of an adjustment on the background wall here. So if we activate this and hit Shift H to highlight, you can see we've got the wall behind him, a little bit of this poster and the wall, some of the lamp, and the wall over here. Now we could isolate this more, like get rid of this section of the picture if we grab, maybe a circular window here and bring it down. And we're going to make this like, say, a safe zone. So we could grab that and choose invert. So now anything outside of that is going to be affected, and anything on the inside of that circle is not going to be affected. So essentially we could stretch that out, and we could track this as well. So let's track that through the shot, even though it doesn't really move. He moves, of course, that's stationary, but that'll keep it safe and excluded from the hue changes in the wall. So now if we toggle that on and off, you can see there's no change. If we had the window on, I'll shut that off. You can see the hue shifts right here, just underneath the airplane. So if we turn that circle back on, you can see it's safe. So now if we highlight, what I ended up doing on this one was using the HSL qualifier and just choosing parts of the wall here. So I did an initial swipe, and then I added a little bit more over here. And then I just used some of the matte finesse and a little bit of the saturation controls here. You can see when we slide it around, it'll get a little bit of his hair. You can kind of slide that in just to get it to finesse into the color range you want. And then over here, I ended up using some pre-filter, clean black, all that. One thing that really helps is the denoise. So if we slide that down, you can see the difference. This is with it off, and this is with it on. It kind of helps soften the edges of everything, as well as there's a morph radius in here too. And so you can use all these parts of the matte finesse tool to get it to sort of blend a little bit more. So It's a little more exaggerated when you have highlight on, and then it kind of rolls off the transitions. And if we enable and disable that, this is more of a slight change just to the color of the background. But if we look at the scopes here, right here, I'll switch this to a single viewer and toggle that on and off. You can see the red values and the blue values change pretty drastically. And that is how you can isolate parts of your image without using the magic mask. It's kind of the way they used to do it before Magic Mask came along. So we've got separate nodes. We can isolate the shirt, the poster, and even the wall without having to use Magic Mask. Although Magic Mask is amazing, this is just the way you can do it if you were looking to isolate other items and have full control with a node for each of them. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video.